Welcome to the hidden corners where truth and terror collide. Discover a realm where the lines between the living and the supernatural blur as you embark on a journey to the paranormal and visit the mysterious hidden corners of your mind. The Haunted Music Box by Ginger Winters. The wind whispers through the cracked windows of the old Victorian mansion, carrying with it a chilling air of mystery. The mansion sits at the far end of a dark and lonely street. Tall eucalyptus trees mix with old stately oaks, and purple-flowered jacarandas line the street on either side. The long leaves of the eucalyptus blend with the jacaranda and magnolia petals littering the ground and create a heavily perfumed scent upon the humid air. An ornate wrought iron gate that has seen better days sits guarding the house beyond, like a giant cobweb stretched across the cobblestone driveway that meanders up to the grand old house. The vines of wild roses snake up the trellis on either side of the big iron gate, the thorns of which would keep out a traveler if the gate itself did not hold one back. The gate holds an air of mystery of its own. Intricate scrollwork surrounds a center plaque of a curious carousel. It is said that a gifted composer once lived in this mansion, back when it was still a glorious sight to behold. Grand parties were thrown within its walls, and the rich and elite of New Orleans society would mix with delegates from foreign countries and exotic visitors from all over the world. But his life had become shrouded in darkness and sorrow. His wife and daughter had succumbed to yellow fever, as so many others had done in the latter part of this last century. Nearly 10% of New Orleans' population had died from this dreadful disease, brought on by the smallest of vampires, the mosquito. In his grief, it is said he became quite mad and poured his heart and soul into creating a music box, infusing it with the essence of his deepest emotions. He was a man obsessed, and one rarely saw him leave his workshop. The house staff feared his violent rages and left. The house soon fell to decay and ruin, while his tormented spirit became obsessed with the intricate carvings of the music box. Day and night he worked, carving small animals for the carousel and perfecting the tune which would play by plucking a set of pins placed atop a revolving cylinder. He took apart every old clock in the house to study the mechanics of the interior workings and to create a heartbeat for his musical creation. In his obsession, he kept a diary detailing every step of every failure and success. But as so often with one who falls victim to the madness of creative genius, he neglected to eat or sleep, and that took its toll on his health. But still he forged ahead until the day his creation was perfected. That night, he lit the candles in the grand ballroom, donned his best attire, and placed the music box in the center of the room. With bated breath, he turned the tiny hand crank, and the most beautiful and magical tinkling of sounds emitted from the magical musical box. If you could only have witnessed the spectacle of that night! If one had looked in the window, they would have seen the mad composer dancing and twirling with his beautiful wife and daughter round and round the ballroom all night long. It was glorious. It was perfect. He had brought them back to life. In that one melody, he had tricked death itself. He danced and laughed and twirled around the room. Tick-tock, tick-tock. "No, no," he screamed. "More time! I need more time!" Tick-tock, tick-tock. The house has sat abandoned for years, withering away in the Louisiana heat. Paint peels from its once grand facade, and the windows are mostly all broken by unruly teenagers who practice their baseball-throwing arm by launching rocks at the windows. Inside, shadows dance on the faded wallpaper, as if dancing to some macabre symphony of their own. The house has an air of haunting, which draw the bravest of kids to wander through its empty halls, a result of a dare or a rite of passage, to prove to their peers that they hold no fear. But as night descends upon the decaying estate, one can often hear a soft melody echoing through the corridors. It is a delicate tune, ethereal, yet tinged with an unmistakable sorrow. And if one glances through the bubbled glass of the ballroom, one might see a man in top hat and tails, holding hands with his beautiful wife and their little girl in a full-length gown, twirling around the room to the beautiful refrain of the music box.